21 years old, I remember waking up one morning next to this guy that I didn't know real well. And as we both started to wake up, he turned on the television, and on TV, they were talking about the same thing that they've been talking about all day, every day, for the past 2 weeks. This time it was The View. And Barbara Walters had come up with this study saying that people had had this uptick in casual sex since the attacks on 9/11, because it was scary times, and people were craving human contact so badly that they were willing to totally lower their standards. So me and this guy kind of looked at each other like... So I guess it was scary times. I don't know. I had lived in the South all my life, and I'd never been to New York City. And of course I knew that something astronomically, historically terrible had happened, but I don't think I really felt it in the same way that people who live kind of more in this region or had a bigger connection with New York City probably did. The first time that I went to New York City was a little while after that. I was in Philadelphia visiting my sister for the weekend, and she had just moved up to Philly from Dallas, Texas, with her boyfriend Brian, and the three of us decided to go up to New York for a day trip. So I can't say that the day was particularly memorable. We just kind of walked around. I bought myself one of those giant pencils. Pretty cool. But then when we went back to Port Authority to catch our bus back home to Philly, the people at Port Authority told us that there were no more buses running back to Philly that night. Apparently it was Easter Sunday, which had not occurred to any of us until that moment, and the buses had stopped running early. So at this time, I was 21 years old, my sister was probably 19, and we had a little bit of cash between us, but no credit cards. Her sister was her boyfriend was a little bit older. I remember this guy was in 2 punk rock bands called You're in Trouble and Liquid Braino. And he was pretty cool, but he didn't have a credit card either. So we had no way to pay for a place to stay and no way to get back to Philadelphia. So we just kind of walked out into Times Square and started wandering up and down the street. And as it got later, that whole carnival atmosphere of Times Square started turning into like this scary carnival atmosphere. And then somebody walked up and handed us a flyer that said, stand-up comedy, 11 p.m., no cover. And we're like, what the hell? So we go watch the comedy show, and it is freaking hilarious. And we laugh so hard that we just completely forget that we're even in trouble until we step back out onto the street, and it's 2 a.m. and we still have nowhere to go. But then one of the comics walks past us, and we grab him and we tell him how great he was and strike up this conversation. And it turns out that he was from Dallas, Texas, just like us. And he actually had a mutual acquaintance with my sister's boyfriend, Brian. So he ends up inviting us to this after party in a secret bar. Now, all right, as a side note, I just want to take us back to 2001, 2002. A lot of you guys probably remember that right about that time, some shocking laws had just been passed that were threatening our civil liberties. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. They had just made it illegal to smoke in bars. Right? Like, I remember me and my friends were like, I guess people are just going to stop going to bars now. But that didn't happen. Yes, they had taken away my right to suffocate others freely. This was upsetting, but this bar was a secret bar that was illegally open all night long. And when they opened the unmarked door, choke thick cigarette smoke poured out. So we hung out and drank all night with the stand-up comics until the sun came up, and then it was time to go catch the bus. So now we're running through the early morning streets, and I am just swollen with affection for this city, where people have been kind to us, and we survived this crazy night. And then all of a sudden, I finally felt it. All of these people, how many of them had lost someone? How many were still privately dealing with the trauma? The full magnitude of the tragedy settled onto me, just for a moment. And then we started acting silly again. And Brian sees this weird statue. It looks like, it's made out of bronze, it looks like a man bending over, sort of sticking his rear end out in the air. So he gets up behind the statue and starts humping it from behind. And we're delirious, so I'm kind of egging him on, snapping photos, until I walk around to the front and I say, oh my God, get down right now. Because I can see that the plaque in front says, a fireman's prayer in tribute to 9/11. And he's like, oh shit, and starts apologizing to every person in earshot. And then we just haul ass and start running back to Port Authority and get onto the bus back to Philadelphia, where we probably belong.